Well, welcome back to Believe. We are so glad that you came back. We know you're going to keep coming back. How could you not want to keep coming back to this? You're all, Color and I are here. I'm telling you, we are here to help you with your life. We are here to help you with your situation. We have been through, the two of us have been through a lot. Okay, good and bad. And that's what we're sharing. I mean, we're just like you. We're just human beings here walking through earth, trying to do our best with God's leading, okay? And so we're just excited to be back. We're going to have lots of these. So just keep coming back to YouTube and we'll be here. You'll see Carla and Pastor Luigi here. And so anyway, we're going to get started again with our next segment.
Okay. We have left out on the other segment on the teenager.
Yes.
Right, the rebellious part.
The rebellious part.
How in a teenager's life, how drastic is the people they surround themselves. And being that you were coming from a divorced parents, would you blame your rebelliousness on the people you were hanging around more so, or more the part where your parents split up?
That's a very good question. It's a good question. I think that there's I think it's kind of a twofold answer, because there has to be cause and effect, right? We know that. There has to be so the cause was the divorce. The effect was the rebelliousness. Okay? So I think that but then what happens is once you have the cause, which we know was a divorce, that took me into the effect, which was become rebellion. At that point in time then, I was looking forward to be around rebellious people, because I was rebellious now. I was angry now. So I wanted to be around my own kind. And of course we know that you draw what you are. I mean, you basically do. Now you can we know that good people can get drawn into bad people. That does happen. But I was looking for the people, the kids who were kind of troublemakers. Because that's where my mind was at. My head was at, I'm a troublemaker now. I'm angry. I'm just angry. So you're not going to be, in fact, young people who are maybe churchgoers, their parents are churchgoers, they may be Christians, they wouldn't be attracted to me at that time. No, they wouldn't want to get away from me, right? So who would be attracted to me but the ones that were like me? So who you young people surround yourself with is extremely important, because you become what your environment is. And I use this example all the time, is that if we came from another planet, you and I, and we didn't know anything about Earth, and someone took us to a bar, what would we do? We would probably drink and smoke, and maybe even worse, right? But then if someone took us to a church, we would probably be raising our hands saying hallelujah. So we can see the power of environment. So it's important as a single parent that you monitor who your children are being around. That's why that church environment is so important. If you can get them to go to church, they're going to meet some good kids. Now, are all good kids in church good? No. Are all good adults in church good? No. But the majority really are. There's a lot of good young teenagers in churches. So you as the single parent, you want to get them in that environment. And once we're going to church, that's the end of the conversation. We're going. Now they are going to kick and scream and holler, whatever. That's okay, let them. Because they will, with time, they will start to go, wow, I kind of like this environment. And then they're going to meet some nice kids. They're going to make a few friendships. Then the next thing you know, they're asking you, Mom, we have to go to church Sunday. Sure. So as that single parent, you want to create that environment of who they're around as much as you can. Now in school it's a little more difficult. That's why sometimes it's good to have their friends over your house so you can see who their friends are.
Right. So it's all about believing, right?
Always about believing.
Like being a team with God.
Yes.
Your job is to, hey, you know what? The right thing for you to do right now in this hard moment is to take them to church even if they don't want to.
Yep.
Even if they don't want to hear it. Because that makes God move.
Yes.
So all of a sudden God is starting to put everything together. Preparing all the friends that this particular teenager is going to be hanging around as long as you do your part.
Yes.
Okay. So
just believing in that, just real quick, I want to touch on it because it's so important, because the name of the program is Believe. So you have to believe as the parent that God is going to help you with this. God is going to help you with this, with raising these children. You have to believe that. No matter what anybody else says, You have to believe, no, God is going to help me raising my children, and I'm going to have great children. They're going to become great adults. So it starts with you, and then that will overflow onto your children because they're going to see that in you.
Right. And you know, I think that is very, very important because I experienced it lately. You know, I've been feeling so guilty for the past two years, you know, about, my gosh, you know, I never thought that I would go through this. I never thought I would expose my kids to this. You know, my dream was to keep them in church, to have them, you know, have a Christian band, or, you know, just worshiping and serving God, you know, and all of a sudden, I'm the one that just breaks everything. You know, because of the decisions I made, the choice I mean, it's all about choices, right?
Oh, yes.
But I think that at one moment, and I think that there's a lot of moms, you know, and possibly single dads over there, out there, you know, that feel as, you know what, it doesn't matter if I go to the Sunday school teacher, it doesn't matter if I go to the teacher counseling or whatever, it's not helping, you know, and we kind of like put God to a side.
That's true.
You know, we kind of pray, okay, Lord, you know what, I really need your help. But then yet we're going elsewhere to really find that help because it's very important for us to hear that voice, you know, like a physical voice. And to get that comfort from it. Until you experience God's comfort, until you experience that God is saying, hey, you know what, it's okay. You might see everything horrible, like it's out of order, like it's never going to change, but guess what? You leave it in my hands and I will take care of it.
That's good.
And I've experienced that. And I see it in my, and I know that God is going to make a way for my kids to see, you know, that, okay, you know what? All those times that I saw my mother there in the kitchen listening to these messages that were driving me crazy, it was because of this, you know? This is where she was at, yelling at us all the time, you know, just being in her room, like forgetting that we even existed. And now she wants to be a part. She wants to have a family. She wants us to help it. You know, she's reaching out to us. I want them to be proud of me, you can say. And I think every parent out there wants the same thing.
Sure, they definitely want the same thing. We all want the same thing for our kids. And while we're saying that, one of the excuse me, one of the other things, when you see, it's very important to communicate with your children. I know it's very hard to talk to teenagers because, I mean, I even had trouble with my boys because they're teenagers. What does Dad know? He's old, you know. But it's very important to sit down, okay, to sit down with them and have serious conversations, kind of like what we're having. Sit down with your children and have a serious, you know, they may even want to listen, but sit with them and have a serious conversation, just like we're talking. I know how you feel. I felt the same way. I was a teenager once, but I love you, and I believe that what I'm doing is the best for you. That's what you want to tell them. I mean, I love you, and I believe that what I'm doing is the best for you. Because this is what my parents either didn't do or did do. And so that communication with the children is very, very important. Very important.
And something that we don't see.
You don't see it all the time. No, you don't see it all the time. Being a parents when there's a husband and a wife is not easy. So the single women out there and the single dads out there, I mean, we have a lot of compassion for them. Because especially you, because you know, you've been there. But then I'm on the other side. But that doesn't mean that it was always easy for Dee Dee and I as parents, because I believe that we should bring them up this way, and you should believe that they, you know, I believe in discipline, you don't believe in so much discipline. So even when there's two, there's some conflict. And that's where God comes in. All right, God, help us. How do we parent? How do we handle this? Whether you're a single mom, single dad, or you're a married couple, you have to go to God and say, God, how do I handle this teenager? You know, how do I handle this situation? What do I say to my teenager? You know, what do I say to my teenager? And that communication, you can't lose that. And you have to be, this is important. You have to be paying attention to your children. You start seeing changes in their behavior, changes in their attitudes. That's a red flag, as we would say. It's a red flag. And we'll talk about. Listen, thank you so much for tuning in. Don't forget to come on back because Carla and I are here for you. And believe.